If you keep your cat's food bowl full all day so they can eat whenever they want, you think you're being a caring owner, don't you? You're making sure they never go hungry. You're giving them freedom and choice. And honestly, it seems like the kind thing to do. But here's the question almost nobody asks until it's too late. What is that constant access to food actually doing to your cat's metabolism, their digestive system, and their long-term health? Because the timing of when you feed your cat isn't just about convenience. It's not just a preference. The when affects their body almost as much as the what. And right now, millions of cat owners are feeding at times and in patterns that are slowly, invisibly damaging their cat's metabolic health. The effects don't show up immediately. They accumulate over months and years, until one day your vet is diagnosing diabetes or obesity or chronic digestive issues. And nobody ever connects it back to something as simple as meal timing. Let me be clear. This isn't about shaming how you've been feeding. Most cat owners have never been told this information by their vet, the pet store, or the food packaging. But once you understand how your cat's body is actually designed to process food, you'll never think about feeding schedules the same way again. Let's start with the feeding pattern that seems the most convenient, but might be the most damaging. Be honest. Is your cat's food bowl constantly full? Do you just top it off whenever it gets low so they always have access? If you're nodding right now, you're practicing something called free feeding, and here's what most owners don't know: your cat's body was never designed for it. Here's the biology. Cats are obligate carnivores and ambush predators. In nature, they hunt, catch prey, eat the entire meal in one sitting, then go hours or even a full day before hunting again. Their digestive system evolved for this pattern: feast, fast, repeat. The body processes a complete meal, metabolizes it fully, then enters a fasting state where it burns stored energy. But when food is available 24/7, that natural metabolic cycle never happens. Your cat's body is constantly in digestion mode, constantly processing incoming calories, never entering that crucial fasting state where fat burning and cellular repair occur. Research published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery on feline feeding patterns found that cats with constant food access show significantly altered insulin responses compared to cats fed on a schedule. Their bodies start producing insulin less efficiently because they're responding to food intake all day long instead of at predictable intervals. And here's where it gets dangerous. Over time, this constant insulin production can lead to insulin resistance, the precursor to type 2 diabetes. A study on feline diabetes risk factors found that feeding method was one of the most significant controllable variables, with free-fed cats showing higher rates of obesity and metabolic syndrome than meal-fed cats, even when total caloric intake was similar. But it's not just diabetes. Free feeding creates grazers instead of eaters. Your cat nibbles constantly, never feeling truly hungry or truly satisfied. That disrupts the leptin and ghrelin hormones that regulate appetite and satiety. The result? Your cat loses the natural ability to self-regulate food intake, eats more than they need, and gains weight gradually without you noticing until it's significant. The fix seems simple but requires commitment. Switch to scheduled meals. 2 to 3 meals per day at consistent times. Your cat's metabolism will adjust within a few weeks, and you'll actually see them get hungry before meals and satisfied after, the way their body was designed to work. Let me ask you something. Do you feed your cat right before you go to bed because you think it'll help them sleep through the night? Or do you feed them when they wake you up at 3 a.m. meowing because you just want them to be quiet? If either of those sounds familiar, you're accidentally training your cat into a pattern that disrupts both their circadian rhythm and yours. Here's why this matters more than you think. Cats are crepuscular, meaning they're naturally most active at dawn and dusk. This evolutionary timing matches when their prey, rodents, birds, are most active. Their bodies are wired to hunt and eat during these twilight periods, then rest during the middle of the day and the middle of the night. But when you feed your cat at 11 p.m. or 3 a.m., you're telling their body that nighttime is eating time. And eating triggers a whole cascade of biological processes that are incompatible with deep sleep. Digestion raises body temperature, increases metabolic activity, and triggers alertness hormones. Research on feline activity patterns published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that cats fed late at night showed increased nighttime activity and decreased sleep quality compared to cats whose last meal was in the early evening. The study concluded that late feeding was actually perpetuating the exact behavior, nighttime wakefulness, that owners were trying to prevent. And there's a secondary problem. Feeding in response to nighttime meowing reinforces the meowing. Your cat learns that crying at 3 a.m. produces food, so they'll keep doing it. You've created a conditioned behavior that gets harder to break the longer it continues. The proper pattern? Feed the largest meal of the day in the early evening, around 6 to 8 p.m., mimicking the dusk hunting time. This allows complete digestion before true nighttime, satisfies the biological drive to hunt and eat at dusk, and encourages natural sleep during human sleeping hours. If your cat needs a morning meal, feed around 7 to 8 a.m., again matching the dawn activity period. Within a week of consistent timing, most cats adjust their sleep-wake cycles to match. They learn that nighttime doesn't bring food, so they stop waking you. And their bodies sync with their natural circadian rhythm, improving sleep quality for everyone. Here's one that surprises most owners. Does your cat get breakfast at 7 a.m. on weekdays but 10 a.m. on weekends? Does dinner happen at 5 p.m. some days and 8 p.m. others, depending on your schedule? You might think a few hours here and there don't matter. But to your cat's biology, unpredictability itself is a stressor. Cats are creatures of ritual and pattern. Their survival in the wild depended on predictable routines: hunt at dawn, hunt at dusk, rest in between. Their entire endocrine system is built around anticipating these patterns. When feeding times vary significantly, your cat's body doesn't know when to prepare digestive enzymes, when to expect glucose, when to enter rest and digest mode. A study on feline stress responses and feeding found that cats with irregular feeding schedules showed elevated cortisol levels, the stress hormone, compared to cats fed at consistent times daily. The researchers noted that the unpredictability itself, not hunger, was the stressor. And chronic stress has cascading health effects. Elevated cortisol suppresses immune function, contributes to digestive issues, increases inflammation, and can even contribute to behavioral problems like aggression or inappropriate urination. If you're realizing that something as simple as when you feed could be affecting your cat's health this significantly, that's exactly why Whisker Wisdom exists. Subscribe so you understand the biology behind your cat's needs, not just the marketing on the food bag. And stay with me, because the next part reveals the optimal feeding schedule and why it works. So if free feeding is out, and timing matters, how many meals should your cat actually get per day? Because here's where the advice gets confusing. Some sources say 2 meals. Others say 3 or 4 small meals. Some even suggest 5 or 6 tiny portions. What's actually right? Here's what the research shows. For most adult cats, 2 to 3 meals per day matches their biological design and metabolic needs. Here's why. 2 meals, morning and evening, mimics the natural dawn and dusk hunting pattern. It allows for complete digestion with fasting periods in between, which is metabolically healthy. This works well for most adult cats with normal weight and activity levels. 3 meals can be beneficial for kittens, who need more frequent feeding, senior cats, who may process smaller meals better, or cats recovering from illness. It's also helpful for cats prone to vomiting from eating too quickly, as it reduces the meal size while maintaining total daily calories. More than 3 meals? This is where you start approaching grazing behavior again, and you lose the metabolic benefits of meal feeding. Your cat's digestive system never fully completes a cycle before the next meal begins. 1 meal per day? Too extreme for most cats. They can become ravenously hungry, leading to vomiting bile, eating too fast, or aggressive food guarding behavior. Some intermittent fasting protocols suggest this occasionally for overweight cats under veterinary supervision, but it's not appropriate as a daily standard. The key is consistency. Whatever schedule you choose, stick to it within a 30-minute window daily, even on weekends. Your cat's body will entrain to the rhythm, optimizing hormone production, digestive enzyme release, and metabolic function around those predictable feeding times. Here's the piece that ties everything together, and it's the one that changed how I think about cat feeding entirely. In nature, cats follow a specific behavioral sequence: hunt, catch, kill, eat, groom, sleep. This isn't random. It's a neurological pattern with biological purpose. The hunt burns energy and creates appetite. The catch and kill trigger reward neurotransmitters, dopamine. The eating satisfies hunger and provides nutrients. The grooming is part of the satisfaction ritual and prey scent removal. The sleep is restorative, occurring in a satisfied, safe mental state. This entire cycle takes 1 to 3 hours, and then it repeats 8 to 12 hours later. Your cat's metabolism, hormone cycles, and even their mental health are built around this pattern. But here's what modern indoor feeding does. It removes the hunt, provides constant access to food, disrupting the eat phase, and never completes the cycle. Your cat never experiences the full sequence their brain and body are designed for. The fix? Simulate the hunting sequence before feeding. 5 to 10 minutes of active play with a wand toy before each meal. Let your cat stalk, chase, pounce, and catch the toy. End the session with a capture. Then immediately feed the meal. Research on feline enrichment and feeding behavior found that cats who engaged in pre-meal play showed better food satisfaction, reduced food seeking between meals, and healthier body condition scores compared to cats who were simply fed on schedule without the hunting component. You're not just feeding your cat. You're completing their biological programming. Hunt, play, catch, end of play, eat, meal, groom. They'll do this naturally, sleep, they'll do this too. The entire cycle, twice a day, at consistent times. So let's put it all together. Here's what an optimal feeding schedule looks like for most adult indoor cats. 7 to 8 a.m., morning play session, 5 to 10 minutes, followed immediately by first meal. 6 to 7 p.m., evening play session, 5 to 10 minutes, followed by second meal. This should be the larger meal. Total meals, 2 per day, or 3 smaller meals if your cat has specific needs. Consistency, same times every day, within 30 minutes. Method, measured portions, not free feeding. This schedule matches their crepuscular nature, dawn/dusk activity. Completes the hunt-eat-sleep cycle. Allows proper fasting periods between meals. Promotes healthy metabolism and insulin response. Reduces nighttime waking and meowing. Improves sleep quality for both cat and owner. Prevents obesity and metabolic disease. Will your cat adjust immediately? Probably not. If they've been free-fed for years, expect 1 to 2 weeks of protest. They'll meow, beg, act like they're starving. This is extinction burst behavior. It gets worse before it gets better. But if you remain consistent, their body will adjust, their metabolism will regulate, and the begging will stop. Here's the truth that makes all of this matter. The feeding schedule you choose now determines your cat's health trajectory for the next decade. Feed on a proper schedule, and you're protecting against type 2 diabetes, which affects 1 in 200 cats, mostly preventable. Obesity, affecting 60% of indoor cats. Hepatic lipidosis, fatty liver disease, often triggered by obesity. Chronic digestive issues and inflammatory bowel disease. Poor sleep quality and behavioral problems. Reduced lifespan. Feed inconsistently, free feed, or feed at biologically inappropriate times, and you're increasing the risk of all of these conditions, even if you're feeding high-quality food in the right amounts. Because it's not just what you feed. It's when. It's how. It's whether you're working with your cat's biology or against it. And the beautiful part? This costs nothing. You're using the same food, the same amount. You're just restructuring when and how it's offered. That simple change can add years to your cat's life and life to your cat's years. At Whisker Wisdom, we believe in working with biology, not against it. If this changed how you think about feeding your cat, share it with someone who's still free feeding or feeding at random times. Your cat's metabolism is either working for them or against them. And you control which one it is with something as simple as a clock and a routine.